Hey guys, welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to be doing my IPSY try on for the month of September. So I'm going to be trying out some of the products I got this month. It's mostly my glam bag products. I didn't have quite as many makeup products in my plus box, and I'm also gifting one of my plus items away that was a makeup product. It's a lot of my glam bag items, but I do have the plus makeup items that I received as well. So we are going to go ahead and get into it. But before we do, if you are new here, hello, my name is Emily, or MEG. I do beauty and fashion related content on my channel, so if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna move a lot closer and pull my hair back. Okay, so I've pulled my hair back. I already put eyeshadow primer on. I used the e.l.f. shadow primer. For our face primer, we're going to be using the Benefit Porefessional Hydrating Primer. I did decide to try this out since it's so small. I can't really give it to anyone, so I figured I might as well try it. I don't hate the original Porefessional. It's just not personally my favorite because it just makes my face feel super slick. I will definitely say that this is hydrating, especially compared to the regular Porefessional. I remember using that one, and that one is not really hydrating at all. I feel like you definitely need to use a lot to get all over your face. Okay, so I've applied this everywhere. It's not bad. I definitely like it better than the regular Porefessional just because it is hydrating. My skin does feel very smooth and silicone-y, which is typical since this does have dimethicone, I think, in it. It has a very light floral fragrance to it as well, but nothing overpowering. It's not too much. If you are sensitive to fragrance, you may not want to use this, but it seems fine. It seems like the regular Porefessional, just a little bit more hydrating. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to use is the Item Beauty Brow Chow. This is in the shade Warm Blonde. So Item Beauty is Addison Rae's brand, who is a TikToker. It's got a triangular shaped tip. If you like more of a precise tip, this might not be for you, but let's see how it does. So I'm just kind of using this to sort of outline my brows right now because I don't want to press too hard because I can't tell if this color right now, it's really hard to see what exactly it is. All right, I'm gonna use my mirror because I'm having a hard time just looking at the camera. I like these types of brow tips just because I find them to be so much quicker to fill your brows in with. And Item Beauty, from my understanding, is a pretty new brand. So it is cool that we got it in IPSY because now, we're able to try it and it's a pretty new product. I don't know if a lot of people have reviewed it or not. I had never heard of it till I saw it in IPSY because I don't know anything about Addison Rae. I really don't even know what she's famous for. I just saw dancing. All right, so this is the little brush, which I think is interesting. So let's see how this works. I think I like the brush a lot, actually. Yeah, I like this brush. This brush, I like that it kind of just combs through. I like how it's lacing my brow hairs. The brow pencil itself, I think, is okay. It's definitely not the best brow pencil I've ever used. It's fine. If you want a more natural looking brow, I probably want to use this because I don't think this is going to give you a very natural look unless you have fuller brows like me. Okay guys, so here are my brows before I put brow gel on. I am going to put some on. I mean, I think they did a fine job, the pencil. It's not my favorite brow pencil. I think the color matched pretty well though, so that's good. I expected it to be a little bit more blonde. It was definitely more taupey. It's not the most natural looking, but I don't mind it. I don't think it looks bad. I like the brush a lot on this. I really like the brush. That's probably my favorite thing about this is I like the little brush because I think it combs the hairs very nicely and more individually than other brow brushes that I typically use. Okay, so I did decide to keep the PYT Quad. I just really want to try out the formula of these eyeshadows. I am kind of excited. So here is our little quad. I might end up pulling a little bit from this IPSY palette just because I don't know if I'll be able to get a complete look with this. Okay, so I'm gonna take the light shade and I'm just gonna use this in the crease and buff it out to the brow bone. It's kind of gonna be an all over shade. By the way, that is in the shade Coffee Run, the one that I am picking up. So I'm just going to, like I said, use this to put in my crease and buff towards the brow bone. This is going to cancel out some discoloration, and when I do put on my inner corner highlight, it's going to emphasize the highlight a little bit more, so that's why I'm doing it. Plus, when I put on my second crease shade, this will be a nice little transition. It won't look quite as abrupt as it might otherwise. Okay, now I'm going to go into Day Trip, which is the other matte shade in here, and pick that up with the same brush. So I'm just going to put this into the crease and not buff it quite as high as that other shade. I want it to be a little bit lighter. I don't want to pick up too much pigment with this one. Okay, I'm gonna go back into that same shade, but this time with this Precise Crease brush from Firma. Don't mind the fact that my brush needs cleaned. It's fine. I just cleaned it like a few days ago. It's fine. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put a little bit at the outer corner and just buff it into the crease because I just want to build up this shade a little bit more so I have a little bit more of a transition in here. So it's not coming out quite as pigmented as I want in the crease. I mean, it's a light brown shade, but I was hoping it would just be a little bit more. So I might go ahead and use a shade in here real quick. Okay, so I've dipped into this shade right here in my IPSY Enlightened palette. This is Vortex. And I'm just going to, again, put it where I put that other shade and buff it into the crease. That's more what I wanted, just a little bit more depth, not like a ton or anything. Just like a little bit more to have a bit more dimension to the eye before I put the other two shades on. Cool. Okay guys, so you can see both eyes, what I did over here. I just, like I said, build up the crease a little bit more with that IPSY shade. So the next thing I'm going to do is go into the darker shimmery shade right here. This is the shade 202 AM. So I'm going to take that with this Firma brush. I know it's a shimmery shade, but I want it to be a little bit more of like adding more depth to the eye look. So I'm going to put this just at the outer portion of the eye again. And I am doing this with a fluffier brush right now, and then I'll go ahead and pack it on in a minute. This is just to kind of get more so like the color to lay down. So you can see I'm putting it at the outer corner, and I'm even buffing it into the crease a little bit. If you don't like shimmers in your crease, you might not want to do this. You might just want to keep it at the outer edge, but I wanted to do this. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye. All right, I'm going to use my finger and pick up that shade again, and I'm just going to put this right here. I will say the shade's definitely a little bit more bronzier than it looks in the pan. In the pan it looks more brown. It's a little bit more of like a bronzy shimmer in person. I'm going to take this Complex Culture brush and go into the other shimmer shade. This is in the shade Later, or no, this is in the shade Happy Hour. I'm going to pick this up with this brush and just see how it lays the pigment down and go in with my finger if I need to. Oh, that's really pretty. So this is laying down fine with this packer brush. No need to go in with my finger, which is great because I prefer not to. I'm going to take this little Beau Goss brush and I'm going to use that dark shimmery shade again and pick that up and just place it underneath the lower lash line a little bit at the outer corners just to give a little bit more depth to the look. Okay, and now I'm just going to highlight real quickly with this shade in the IPSY palette called Spirit Animal. Inner corner highlight and do a brow bone highlight with this shade. I like using this as a highlight shade because it's a little bit more striking. Okay guys, so here is the eye look. As you can see, I used the whole palette and then a couple shades from the IPSY palette, the Vortex shade and Spirit Animal. I really like the gold shadows. I do like gold shadows as far as neutrals go a lot, so I definitely like that. I think that the brown shimmery shade isn't quite as built up as the other one. It's not quite as pigmented, I guess. It definitely comes across more bronzy than it does brown in my opinion. I also threw in some of this Laura Geller eyeliner that I got in my plus box last month. So let us move on. All right, so the next step I have is going to be concealer. So let's just go ahead and do that, and then I'll do my foundation. And this concealer I have tested out before. This is the Julep Concealer, just because I know this is a lighter coverage concealer, so it's not going to cover the same way as some of my other ones do. And I'm just going to put some of this under my eyes. This concealer does feel really nice. It has turmeric in it, which I thought was super interesting. So normally I wouldn't do like bigger triangles like this, but like I said, this is pretty light coverage. I'm doing it to cover my eyes a little bit more and build it up a tiny bit. This concealer does match me. I don't really like to go a whole lot lighter than my actual shade underneath my eyes because otherwise I just notice that it emphasizes my wrinkles. So I like to pretty much keep to my skin tone when I'm doing concealer under my eyes. Gonna add a little bit more coverage here. I'm gonna be using the ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation, which is like medium coverage. So just a couple of different areas where I'm red. This is good to put there. So that was the concealer. I like the concealer. It has a little bit more lighter coverage than I normally would go, but I'd say it's like medium coverage. I wouldn't say it's light coverage, but I do like it. It does feel really nice on the skin. Like I said, it's got turmeric infused with it, which I think is what makes it feel so nice. I'm gonna go ahead, do my foundation off camera really quick, and then I'll be back with our next product to test. All right, guys, I'm back. Here is the skin. Like I said, I used the ColourPop Pretty Fresh foundation. I did use a little bit of the Milani concealer to conceal this blemish up here, and then I had like another one over here somewhere. So now we're gonna go into the Pacifica duo. So we have both a bronzer and blush. So we're going to use both of them today. First, I'm gonna apply the bronzer, and I'm actually gonna use the Complex Culture brush that I got in my Plus this month. I love these brushes. If you've never tried these brushes, I highly recommend them because they're so nice. That is pigmented. Look at that. That is more pigmented than I expected. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of it up here. These brushes are so nice. They're so soft. They look beautiful and they're biodegradable. They're just a win-win-win-win. And the bronzer is nice. It definitely blended out, so that's good because I was a little bit worried when I saw that streak. I did not want to have a stripe on my neck, preferably. Not really my vision for this look. Not that I really had a vision to begin with, to be honest. This buffs out the bronzer really nicely. And this is their Bronze and Set brush. So usually you would just stipple it like that, which is kind of what I started doing, but the bronzer was a little intense for me. Okay, so that's gonna be bronzer, and then I'm gonna pick up my blush brush. This is from Sheena B, and I'm just going to set that there. So this is very pigmented again. And I'm gonna put a little bit on the apples of my cheek to soften my jaw a little bit, but I'm just going to buff this so it's not quite as in your face. I'm actually gonna use this Complex Culture brush again to buff this a little bit more. I think this does a better job at buffing than that Sheena B brush. I like that that gives you kind of a nice subtle glow almost to your cheeks, even though it's matte. It definitely has kind of that glow. And I think buffing it a little bit with the bronzer brush actually helped to do that. So I do really like how both of these are looking, and I'm happy so far with how everything's looking actually, so that's cool. So this is the Realher Confidence in My Glow highlighter, and it's just a champagne gold highlighter. So I'm going to use this little R&L brush and just apply my highlighter right on top of the cheekbone. So this is pretty, I don't know if you guys can see on camera, but it's pretty blinding. More than I thought it was going to be, that's for sure. I like to be blinding sometimes. I'm just going to put it right here. My cupid's bow, my chin, my T-zone, and then I'll put a little bit right there. And then I don't put it in the center of the forehead, I put it right here because this is where it naturally shines on my skin. I'm gonna use this little Luxie brush real quick and just kind of buff the highlighter a bit so it's not quite as striking, just a little bit less emphasis because it's a lot for the look I have on right now. I don't want to look like I got too much highlighter on. Okay, so I'm gonna finish up and then I'll be right back and we'll test out the Maelle lip crayon. Okay guys, I'm back and we're going to use the lip crayon. I did use the Tarte Sea Surfer Curl Mascara that I got in a previous IPSY. Still don't know how I feel about it. I think it makes the lashes look really pretty, but it does have fallout and it does fall out throughout the day. So here is our lip crayon. This is in the shade Berry. So let's just go ahead and apply it. It's just gonna be like a nice little lip tint, which I think will go well with the look because I feel like this look, generally speaking, is fairly natural looking. I like lip crayons because I find them very easy to apply in comparison to like a normal lipstick or even a liquid lipstick depending on the applicator. It's almost like applying a lip liner, but even easier than a lip liner because a lip liner takes forever. Okay guys, so this is gonna be the final look. I'm pretty happy with how all the products performed. I do like this little thing. It's a little bit more pink than I imagined it would be, only because I thought it was gonna be like a true tint, but this does appear to have a little bit more color. Don't mind that. I don't know if I would have paired it with this eye look, but since the eyes are so neutral, I don't think it's a really big deal. It is very moisturizing, which is why I really like it. I think this is a very neutral, natural look for me. This isn't typically what I go for, but I definitely think it looks good. Let's just go over all the products again real quick. So I got the Benefit Porefessional Hydrating Primer. This is probably my least favorite item of all the items I tried out today. I just don't love the Porefessional generally speaking. I liked that this was hydrating. I definitely like it better than the original, but I don't like how it makes my skin feel. I mean, it's very smoothing, but it's so sticky and so tacky. The brow pencil from Item Beauty, I really like the brush on it. The brush is really nice. I love how it separates all of your eyebrow hairs. The actual brow pencil itself is fine. It's not my favorite. The Complex Culture brush I thought was really nice. No surprise there. These brushes are so nice and very expensive. The Julep Concealer I like. The little eyeshadow palette I do like. I think they performed well. I mean, is it my favorite? No, because it's neutrals. But I definitely don't think it's bad. I think the eyeshadows performed really well and I like how they look. The Pacifica duo I really like. I think that the blush definitely gives you a glow to your skin without being glowy. Even though it's matte, the color in it I think gave me a nice glow to my skin. The bronzer is also very pigmented. I did like that. That worked well for a bronzer for me. The Realher highlighter is nice. I have a lot of highlighters like this, so I might end up actually giving this away or maybe one that's similar away just because I have so many highlighters like this. I definitely like it. We'll see if I end up keeping it or seeing if my sister wants it. Not sure yet. The Maelle Lip Crayon, and like I said, I really like it. It's super hydrating and nourishing on the lips. So overall, I'm happy with the products I received this month. I'm very happy, I think, more now than I was when I first received the items because I was happy, but you never know how these items are going to perform. And now that I've used everything, I think I'm very happy. So guys, let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the items I received. If you got any of these items, if you've tried them out yet, what you thought of them, I would love to hear about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up before you go, and please consider hitting that subscribe button before you go as well if you're into beauty and fashion related content. That is all for today, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a good one. Bye, guys.